All right, hey, real quick trigger warning. We're going to talk about a show that is complex and weird and awesome, but does contain mentions of molestation and surgery on genitals that may or may not be good. Go ahead and skip it if you want. We love you, and we'll talk to you next time.
Welcome to the Gender Rebels, a question and answer podcast that explores life outside the gender binary.
I'm Kath, a cis woman and ally.
And I'm Faith, a trans woman.
Special thank you to all our Patreon supporters. Hey everyone, I'm Kath.
And I'm Faith.
Faith, do we have any patrons to thank?
We have so many patrons to thank.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you guys so much. Anya K.
Anya K is a little bit gay.
Sure. Tiago N.
Tiago N can build a great fence.
You're outdoing yourself. Colin B.
Colin B is smaller than a flea.
Yes. Abigail S.
Abigail S has the prettiest dress.
Yeah. Theo G.
Theo G just planted a tree.
Yes. Colby T.
Colby T planted a different tree. No, Colby, let me do you right. Colby T
Sailed the sea.
Colby T enjoys a nice brie.
Yes, they might. Jamie G.
Jamie G.
They're all rhyme with E.
That's why you'd
Like
think I'd be coming
90% of the letters.
I'd come up with better ones.
Yeah.
What, Jamie G?
Jamie G.
Oh my God, I went to high school with Jamie G. I know it doesn't rhyme, but hey, Jamie.
Jocelyn L.
Jocelyn L is not going to hell. You take that back.
ML.
ML is going to hell.
Yeah. Renee.
Renee what?
No, just Renee.
Renee likes cherries flambe.
Jerry E.
Jerry E chopped down Colby's tree.
Oh, dear. Alex M.
Alex M drives really fast in Indianapolis. I know it doesn't rhyme, but I got to give Alex props for that good driving.
All right. Alexandra L.
Alexandra L has beautiful flowing hair with like waves in it, kind of curls. Also doesn't rhyme, but I'm not going to lie about Alexandra L.
Nora H.
Nora H has a last name that begins with H.
Or H if
Which
you're
is
in the UK.
Hardest thing to rhyme with. Thanks, Nora. Is that our crew?
That's our crew.
Thank you, supporters. Thank you so much.
You guys are awesome. Thank you. And if you want to become a Patreon supporter, we actually, I've been wanting to post some more content there, but we have a lot of, you can be a patron for $1 and you get access to a bunch of other bonus content.
Oh, one of my favorites is where we figure out whether Faith is bisexual or not. It's hilarious. Like, I know it's my own material, but that was, like, I feel like releasing that on the normal feed. At some point,
maybe.
I shouldn't have said that. Now no one's going to give us their $1.
Well, we have all our Buffy podcasts. We have we have lots of other good content.
There's some goodies there
on the Patreon.
There's a short and terrifying film about featuring our pets. Mm-hmm. So a question today. We were eating breakfast, and I asked Faith. And Faith said, should we record this? And I was like, hell yeah. And we continued to eat breakfast in silence, trying to keep our thoughts to ourselves because, you know, half the time.
To save our thoughts for you, our dear listeners.
And we wanted it to be fresh. We don't want to talk about it and then come here and like rehash it. What's that going to do? Make a more polished podcast? No.
No.
That's not the kind
you
of
want professional
low quality
podcasts. You go listen to NPR.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you heard of Serial? Yeah, check them out. Have some fun with that. What are we talking about today, Faith?
Well, you asked the questions.
All right. Hey, Faith, I got a question.
Sure. What's your question?
In the musical play, Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Yes.
Is Hedwig the lead character?
Yes, they are. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye-bye. I'm sorry. Okay. I was going to play that out too long. Till it got unfunny. Mm-hmm. And here we are.
And you succeeded.
We're going to, if you haven't heard of Hedwig and the Angry Inch, we'll give you a quick plot synopsis.
Go watch it now. The movie, or if you can find a play version.
Yeah. And what we're going to talk about isn't going to be spoilery. There aren't really spoilers in it. It's just sort of a slice of life thing.
It's not really spoilery. Just go watch it, and then come back, and then we're going to put a warning here. If you want spoilers for a 20 or 30-year-old play, I think the internet's gone a little crazy on the spoilers, where people are like, we're going to talk about Ben-Hur, the original silent film. Spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it. Like, you've had 30 years to watch Hedwig. If you haven't, or maybe 25 years to watch Hedwig. If you haven't, go watch it.
Link
either
down
the
below.
Movie or the play or whatever. Then come back.
Yeah, find a theater putting on Hedwig.
Yeah.
Now.
Or just watch the movie. The movie's great. I love the movie.
It actually is really good. Okay, so the question in my mind is this lead character, Hedwig, which is a woman's name, but I'm going to go with they for reasons that will become clear. Is this character a gay man, a trans woman, both, neither, other, or is it deliberately left ambiguous? And when I say it, I'm not talking about a human being. I mean the concept of their sexuality and their sexual orientation. So, Faith.
Yeah.
Hi.
I'm first. I think there is an answer in the text.
Okay.
Which we'll get to.
Okay.
But
can we go a little bit in the background of Hedwig and your life experience with Hedwig?
Yeah.
Tell me what you think about it and when you learned about it.
I first learned about it from MTV in the 1995 maybe.
Okay.
MTV had like a short little 30-minute thing on this like crazy new play that's all gender bendy. And basically that was like kind of like how I first heard about it. And because it was like gender bendy, I was like, oh, I'm trans and not willing to accept this about myself, but I'm still fascinated by it. So I did learn a little bit about it, and I think I went to an art school. Anyway. Yeah, I went to an art school, and some kids who I was friends with were in the theater department. So I think one of them had like the CD of like the original stage performance.
Okay.
And so I'd listened to that a little bit. And then the movie came out. I gotta look at when this stuff happened.
All right.
It was produced in 1998.
Off-Broadway.
So I must have been in college then.
I mean, maybe you weren't on the ground floor of Hedwig. Sorry, maybe you found out about it 2 years after it.
Yeah. Anyway, I remember it being high school, but I clearly did not remember this particularly wrong. Or I remember this wrong. But there was also a movie that came out. And I think that's how most people know it.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, the 2001 film. Yeah. So that one came out.
2001.
So this was when I was in college, and I was still kind of a little hesitant to come out trans, but also like clearly playing with this as much as humanly possible.
Yes. Just like we advise all of our listeners, investigate it. Look, read things, watch things, find out about your sexuality, ask questions, try things on.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
So this story by John Cameron Mitchell, who plays the lead, and Stephen Trask, who wrote the music, basically tells the story of a young boy. He's not even young. He's in his 20s. In my early mid-20s.
Early
mid-20s. In the late mid 80s, he was in his early mid-20s.
Okay.
It's a very, very funny story. And also sad. But he basically is living in East Germany, listening to Armed Forces radio and all the David Bowies and Iggy Pops. And this is very glam rock. This is very much paying homage to that kind of 70s gender-bending queer thing, which I would like to point out, David Bowie in the 80s actually spent a lot of time in Berlin. No, in the 70s, sorry. Spent a lot of time in then West Berlin and was dating a trans cafe owner.
Oh.
And this trans woman cafe owner also apparently dated like Mick Jagger and like Iggy Pop and like a bunch of people
What a woman. What's her name?
Who hung out at this
her cafe
in I want to say it was Charlottenburg.
Please tell me there's a movie about
there
this
should
woman.
be.
Please tell the soundtrack alone. Oh my god.
Romy Haag.
Romy Haag.
Romy Haag is also you should definitely look up Romy Haag because
link down below.
They were Dutch, actually.
She's Dutch.
She was Dutch, and basically in Schonenberg, and ran this cafe. And the people who used to hang out there include like Tina Turner, Grace Jones, Iggy Pop, Freddie Mercury, Lou Reed, David Bowie. So basically, this was like if you know about like Bowie's Berlin trilogy, if you know about Nick Cave and all that, there was a lot going on musically in Berlin in the 70s.
Can you scroll down that Wikipedia page real quick just so we can see if there's a movie?
Okay. She has roles in 26 films.
Oh my gosh, she's an actress.
Yeah. So anyway, Romy Haag is kind of a legend and a little bit underground, but still, yeah, that would make a fun movie.
Definitely.
Yeah. And so that all sort of plays into this kind of idea that it's all part of that glam, gender bendy, crazy, outrageous rock, kind of like the Iggy Pop and the Stooges and the David Bowies and all that in the 70s. There were 3 David Bowies. No. David Bowie and did all this like kind of androgynous glam rock. So this is definitely paying heavy homage to that.
Okay.
Hedwig is living in Helmut, I think is his name at that point, is living in East Germany and
other side of the wall.
Other side of the wall.
Other side of the planet at that time.
Somehow befriends an American soldier who he ends up dating. I don't know what the American soldier was doing in East Berlin, but
yes,
I think you could.
They occupied East Berlin. Checkpoint Charlie.
That was West Berlin.
But that was the checkpoint to the other side.
Yeah, but you couldn't cross over. That was the whole point.
But he was there and snuck into a bar or something.
I think actually, from my reading about Berlin, a lot of American soldiers would go over to East Berlin because the booze was way cheaper.
I bet.
But there was like a lot of like weird rules about you couldn't bring currency back and forth. So you had to like smuggle in the currency and you could get in a lot of trouble for it. But if you could, like you could only bring in like 5 marks.
Okay.
And then, so anyway, U.S. soldiers could in theory have gone over the wall to go drinking and come back. So that was certainly possible. So anyway, falls in love with this older man who's an American soldier.
But older meaning older than 24. Like, is it older?
I think he's like in his 30s.
60s?
I think he's like 40s maybe.
Okay.
And basically they, together with his mom and the soldier, they concoct this plan that they're going to sneak out of East Berlin. It's the only way to get out of East Berlin.
Helmut/Hedwig is desperate to get out of East Berlin and or is desperate to marry this man.
So I thought the idea was that it was to get out, but also this was the ticket out.
I got the impression that mostly it's about getting out, but also here's how you can get out.
Yeah.
And you do love this guy. And,
so is to marry this guy. And the only way to marry this guy is to legally be a woman. So Hedwig undergoes a sex change operation. And again, not very realistic because they don't undergo any sort of hormone therapy or anything like that. They just like apparently you can just show up at some maybe it's some like underground,
I imagine,
terrible surgeon. And
so they lose the dick.
They get they're in theory getting a penile and virgin vaginoplasty or some other vaginoplasty. But they don't dilate, I think is the problem. That's what I'm going to go with. Hedwig doesn't dilate well enough because when you get your GRS, you have to dilate. And if you don't, it'll close up. So anyway, Hedwig gets this operation and apparently the operation is botched. And Hedwig is left not with a lovely vagina, but with a 1 inch mound of flesh.
A 1 inch mound of flesh. Now, as much as I hate the whole narrative of everyone being like, scrutinizing in minute detail about the genitals of trans people, what I concluded was they just cut off the end of the penis. Let Helmut Hedwig heal up, and that's it.
They might have. It might not have been a good East German doctor.
The 1 inch is the base of the penis.
It might be that. I don't think they get into too specific detail, other than that the operation got botched.
I understand, and
it might not have been a good operation. Maybe they weren't doing a vaginoplasty. Maybe it was some back alley Berlin surgeon.
But the idea was to get a vagina. The reality was the genitals were changed. It was not what they had wanted, and they're making the best of it. And I don't want to dwell on it too much, but it's literally in the title.
It's a Barbie doll crotch, is how they describe it. Okay. It's basically they end up just with no junk.
Okay, so they're junkless.
Yeah, junkless.
Got it.
And basically, Hedwig moves with the soldier to Junction City, Kansas, where they lives with the soldier for a while, and basically then learns that the Berlin Wall fell like a year after they are living in a trailer park in Junction City, Kansas, this tiny little town, working as like a cashier or whatever. And
the trailer park is better than East Berlin.
Maybe. No
Okay.
Stasi, but and then Hedwig basically forms a band and molests this young teenage boy, and they start a band, and then basically the young teenage boy steals all of Hedwig's songs and becomes Tommy Gnosis.
Okay.
And becomes a huge rock star, and Hedwig is basically following them around on tour and performing in these crappy little places while
Howard Johnson, I was led to understand. It was
and
it's the Howard Johnson in every town. Like they would go. Okay.
Yeah, in the movie it's like a fish shack or something.
Oh, okay.
It's like Captain Troller's fish shack or whatever, like a Red Lobster essentially.
Is Tommy Gnosis? Can you think of like a comparable rock star in real life?
Yeah, it's David Bowie.
It's David Bowie.
I'm 100% sure it's supposed to be David Bowie.
Continue.
Or at least inspired by David Bowie or Iggy Pop. Or that kind of glam rock
I thought they were
persona.
a little more mainstream. But I guess David Bowie was pretty mainstream.
Pretty damn mainstream.
Okay, continue.
And then basically that's kind of the story. And then Hedwig's Hedwig's boyfriend is Yitzhak. Mm-hmm. Who longs to be a drag queen, beautiful drag queen, but Hedwig keeps them from doing that out of jealousy, I think.
All right.
And so that's basically it. There's all these songs that tell this story, and in the stage version, it's basically just the songs. You're watching a band. You're not watching really a play that gets acted out. You're just watching a band perform songs, and these songs all tell the story.
Spell out the story.
And there's like little monologues in between. And then in the movie, it's a little more of like a narrative because you'd have to do a little more of a narrative.
What are Hedwig's pronouns?
So it's she, her, mostly in the play.
Okay.
Or in the movie, play, whatever. Yeah. In the book.
In the book.
It's she, her.
Okay.
So, what's your experience with Hedwig?
It's so sad. And it's so unlike traditional Broadway. And I like traditional Broadway. And Faith does not like traditional Broadway. And in fact, the only musical we have gone to see together is Hedwig and the Angry Inch, starring Neil Patrick Harris.
Yes. We've seen 2 other musicals, by the way.
Oh, the bad one?
And Mandy and Patty.
Yeah, but that wasn't a musical. That was like a night with Mandy and Patty.
Yeah.
Which was a Christmas present, and I loved it because I'm a Mandy Patinkin fan. Digressing. Mm-hmm. So Hedwig, I'm not sure if I like Hedwig, the show. And not because it's non-traditional. I like punk rock. I like, Berlin. I like complicated stories. It's just everything is so sad and so awful. Hedwig does not get good surgery. Hedwig lived in East Berlin. Hedwig then lived in a trailer park. Hedwig's songs got stolen. Hedwig performs at Howard Johnson's all over the country with this ragtag crew of buddies. It's I'm trying to find joy in the quirkiness, but it's so bad.
That is actually one of the reasons that I love John Cameron Mitchell's performance.
Okay.
And I didn't like Neil Patrick Harris's.
Okay.
Is because Hedwig is very funny, and Hedwig is basically telling jokes the entire time.
Yeah.
That in between songs.
Dark, bitter jokes.
But that's why I love John Cameron Mitchell. He's so he plays it with this like bitter edge and plays the jokes so well that they're like rehearsed jokes that they don't even want to be telling. And it's just this like edge of like horrible bitterness to the character that is fantastic.
And Neil Patrick Harris was a little lighter. He was a little sillier.
He was sillier.
Almost.
He was enjoying the jokes. Yeah. He was having too much fun with it.
But Hedwig is just saying it, and like, it's really fucking grim.
Like Hedwig is, like the jokes, they have the fur coat on, and she'll be like, someone came up to me and said, don't wear fur. Because, like, what poor unfortunate creature had to die so you could wear that fur? Aunt Trudy, I replied. And it's like, and you get like little, and but it's told in this way of like, I've told this joke 500 times. I'm pissed off that I have to be sitting here telling you this joke, but it's still funny. And it's just undercurrent of just bitter rage that is so well done in the character. And it does have a sort of happy ending. Sort of. And
no spoilers.
Yes. But, the characters sort of get what they want in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. Hedwig does have an unfortunate life. And
Hedwig is a molester.
In the movie, I don't know if Tommy Gnosis is supposed to be like 18 or like a teenager.
I kind of got a 16,
like 16. That's also what I kind of got.
Which is, I don't know how I got that.
I don't know what the age of consent in Kansas is.
The line is kind of important.
Yeah. Then you got to start looking up the age of consent in various places. It's not a good...
Never
live your life in a way that you have to like... There's like... It's like... What is it? There's like the Transformers movie. I don't know which one, but like apparently one of the guys is dating like a teenager and he has like the laminated card of like the law in his wallet. And he's like, see, age of consent in Colorado or wherever we are is this. And it's like, dude, if you've got to don't live your life in such a way that you're so concerned about age of consent laws.
Yeah.
Let people grow up.
Yeah. Give them a few years.
Yeah.
So, okay. But even... All right, so that I don't want to get into the whole complicated can children consent and the sexuality of children, and that's a whole nother episode that we're never going to do.
No.
But I think I would like this show if it was a woman who grew up in a trailer park in Kansas and wrote great songs that got stolen and then toured around. Like that's enough tragedy for me.
Yeah.
But East Berlin, botched surgery, the wall fell 10 seconds after I lost my genitals. Molestation, like there's a lot going on
here.
There is, and I think that's the difference between you and me and Broadway musicals, and you like the darkness and the complexity and the comedy.
And the songs are really good. And like Origin of Love is such a beautiful song and
but that is also kind of a weird song. Like all of the songs have kind of a weird, funky twist to them. Yeah, which is probably why you like
Wig in a Box is fun. Wig in a Box is the bitter song. It's like on nights like this, when the world's a bit amiss, and this is Hedwig watching the Berlin Wall fall at the trailer park. Yeah. I get down, I feel had, feel on the verge of going mad, and it's very much like that. There's some really great songs in it, including Wicked Little Town, which I think the Wicked Little Town is done twice. Hedwig has their Wicked Little Town
Berlin
that they sing, and then at the end, Tommy Gnosis has a version of Wicked Little Town.
Okay,
and that is also they're both done by John Cameron Mitchell. Plays both parts.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
or whoever's playing Hedwig plays both parts. Theo Kogan Theo Kogan was singer for the Lunatics, which was like an LA band that often gets put in with Riot Girl, but they really weren't Riot Girl. They were a little more punk, a little more like 80s LA, a little bit of 80s LA metal, a little bit of punk. But they did, she also did Theo and the Skyscrapers, which was another band. But she did Hedwig. And I really wish I would have been able to see her do it.
Women have been cast in this role.
Yeah.
And men have been cast in this role. And I guess what they're actually looking for is an amazing voice and kind of a scrawny body shape. You know, they don't want...
Although, what's his name? Was it Tay Diggs?
Tay Diggs played
Who's
Hedwig.
Not scrawny. Yeah, Tay Diggs is not scrawny. I would have been curious to see Tay Diggs because I like Tay Diggs.
So, okay. Neil Patrick Harris first started the first Broadway production, took over by Andrew Rannells, then Michael C. Hall, Darren Criss, Taye Diggs, Rebecca Naomi. Nope, that was Yitzhak.
That's just
Hurt Locker. Yes. Oh my God.
That's just that one. And actually, we saw, as soon as we bought our tickets, we basically learned that John Cameron Mitchell was going to be playing instead. And I was like, I wish I'd have gotten to see.
Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris left. John Cameron Mitchell came in and took over after we saw Neil Patrick Harris.
And a lot of people have played an off-Broadway or international versions or whatever.
I think it's probably a great role.
Yeah,
because it is fantastic. Dark and complicated and funny, and you've got to be able to belt. So what I was not clear about is Hedwig's sexuality and gender identity. For real, not in the situation I am stuck in. And I had always interpreted it as Hedwig was a gay man who was forced to get surgery to kind of become a woman just to marry their GI and get out of East Berlin. Then their music happened, their songs got stolen, they formed a band, and they toured around making the best of a bad situation. Literally, the angry inch.
Yeah.
Hedwig was mad that they had to live as a woman. That's how I interpret it.
I think that is part of it.
Okay.
But then why would you keep living...
Talking about it.
Yeah, why would you keep living as a woman once you get to the U.S.?
Yeah.
And once you leave your GI husband?
So she does leave her husband.
Yeah.
Okay.
So...
I consulted my brother.
Okay. I also have what I think is the answer from the text. So what did your brother say?
My brother is a Broadway expert.
And I hope he doesn't steal my answer from the text. I
asked him, is Hedwig a gay man, a trans woman, neither, both, other, or is their sexuality and gender identity deliberately left ambiguous? My brother says, I say the latter.
Ambiguous.
Deliberately left ambiguous. My brother continues, trans woman is probably closest, but I think the makers worked hard to make it ambiguous. All right, what's your answer?
Hedwig does refer to themselves as her, refers to themselves as a woman. Look at the woman I've become.
But I think that's another bitter joke.
It could be a bitter thing, yeah. Especially since it's Wig in a Box, which is like,
so
look
my
at
brother
how much
says
I fucked up.
Trans woman, but probably ambiguous on purpose. I say gay man, but also ambiguous on purpose.
I want to say this is the second to last song of the show.
Okay.
And this is the Tommy Gnosis version of Wicked Little Town.
Okay.
But this one is the lyrics of this. This is Tommy Gnosis singing. Forgive me, for I did not know, because I was just a boy and you were so much more than any god could ever plan, more than a woman or a man.
Wow.
So I think that in text would be the answer, is that Hedwig is something else.
Okay, I like
more than a woman, more than a man, something sort of magical and in between and nothing and neither and both.
Huh.
And then the more than a god could plan harkens back to what we mentioned before, The Origin of Love, which is a song about how the gods basically fucked us over. It's a great song. I love that song.
Just stop thinking about it. Okay.
Yeah, it's such a great song. I know someone who had them and their partner each had from the movie. There's like a little the drawings, the little drawings. So they each had one of the little drawings tattooed.
Moana?
Maybe. Oh, Kath's crying. That song. It's a good song. It's a good song. It's a good show. I think it's really a really good show. So I think that's like the idea is that it's you're transcending to be something else. You're a rock god, and I think that's
a rock god. What? That makes it
Or
more down on the ground to me. I'm thinking, whereas we perceive the message as ambiguous, I think it's what you're saying with the lyrics is it is greater than.
Yeah.
Just a woman with whatever sexuality or just a man with whatever sexuality. Mm-hmm. It's someone who, through a series of really shitty circumstances, transcends those. Wow. We should watch the movie.
We should. We actually, we really should. I have it on DVD, and I have some of the cast recordings.
It's so sad, though.
Yeah.
Do you feel sad when you watch it?
I don't, because to me, it's so hyper real.
Okay.
Like it's what's the word? Surreal. It's surreal. It's to me, it's not realistic. It's so utterly fantastical that to me it's not like a true story. It's not like I'm accepting this as like real events.
Okay.
There's plenty. I just had to stop reading a book about prisons because it was too fucking depressing. So like, yeah, stories can really bum me out, but like,
but this didn't really happen unless it did. But versions of this have happened to people.
I remember being in the Berlin Wall Museum in Berlin and like reading the stories, and I remember tearing up at parts of that. And I remember reading a book about the fall of the Berlin Wall and tearing up at at bits of that when people were escaping or when the wall finally came down. Like, but yeah, to me this is like so fantastical and not realistic that that level of emotion didn't quite come across to me.
Okay. What do we know about John Cameron Mitchell?
I know that he grew up in the army. He was an army brat, because there are some things in there that, and by there I'm pointing to the phone.
Your phone.
Where the information resides. No, there are some things in the book, in the play, that definitely speak to someone who knows what they're talking about. Army for army stuff. Yeah. Like they mentioned like the PX. And if you're not an army brat, you probably don't know what the PX is.
Or like have enlisted. I mean
yeah. Or have been in the military.
Yes.
Or married someone in the military. If you're not like associated with the military. Talking about the Korean brides on the base. And if that's like a thing of like young GIs were stationed in Korea and married a bunch of Korean women. That was like a big cliche.
Yeah.
So there's things like that you definitely, I think his dad was like the NATO commander of Europe or something, like pretty big general.
Is John Cameron Mitchell a Brit or American?
American, yeah.
Okay.
But grew up in Germany.
Okay.
Again, like on the army bases.
Okay.
Probably Rammstein or whatever.
And he hasn't written another
He
tremendous musical.
No, and he's written some other stuff, and we watched. There was one that
he made a movie called Shortbus.
That one, that was such a. I didn't like that movie. It was bad.
Oh, I liked it. Yeah. I rented it and I watched it with my roommate at the time, and she sat down and I said, "This is called Shortbus," and I've been warned it has a lot of explicit sex in it, and the opening scene is a woman getting fucked against a window and like the view from outside, and we're about a minute in, and I said to my roommate, I wonder when the explicit sex is going to start.
Yeah, there's like orgy scenes in that are like pretty,
that are real sex.
Yeah, that's
what
real
I
sex.
Understand. Yeah. Watch it or not. What else does he do? Shortbus was before Hedwig, I think.
Was it? I thought it was after.
Maybe. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I loved him in IMDb. John Cameron Mitchell. Shortbus, yeah. How to Talk to Girls at Parties. Oh, that one I didn't realize he was involved in that one. I kind of want to watch that one, except I think it's about aliens or something.
Oh, that's interesting.
I think I think Dakota Fanning is like an alien, and they're like in the punk scene in the 70s. Mm. Might be interesting. Rabbit Hole. Haven't seen that one. So he's apparently doing some. Oh, he was on The Good Fight.
Oh, for 3 years.
Yeah. So apparently, did something. Has done some stuff. Done some acting. Done some indie films.
All seems pretty quirky and not mainstream, but still.
Yeah. Oh, like he played Andy Warhol. Which, if I were going to cast Andy Warhol, I was on Girls for 2 years. I would have thought about John Cameron Mitchell for the role of
Andy Warhol.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It'd be kind of fun. So yeah, he is
born in Texas.
Yeah, born in Texas. So How to Talk to Girls Apart. I kind of want to watch that now that I know that he directed it because I saw the trailer a while back.
All right.
So yeah, he's I guess a working entertainer. So,
yeah, writer, actor, director. All right. Well, watch it if you want. See if it fills you with absurd joy or utter despair, and let us know what you think, what your opinion is. It's probably left deliberately ambiguous. We are probably supposed to have a level of discomfort with but trying to categorize.
I would also say the outfits are fantastic, and the makeup is apparently. And the makeup in the movie especially is crazy insane. I remember a friend of mine and I used to do the John Cameron Mitchell's, the Hedwig lip color, which is just, you'd have to get this red glitter powder.
Oh, yes.
And then you would basically put on clear lip gloss and then crunch on this lip glitter, which looks amazing for about a minute and a half.
But so amazing.
And but then, so when they were doing the movie, I know that they apparently had to like at certain points he had to like shave, and then they had to like reapply the makeup and stuff.
He had to shave the glitter off?
No, he had to shave his beard, and then like they had to like reapply the makeup. So it's fabulous. It's great. I'm a huge fan of Hedwig. I think for me it was one of those like cool, subversive, especially, subversive about gender ideas and gender roles and sex and all this stuff.
I'm surprised it was as big a hit as it was.
Yeah, it's a weird.
I'm surprised it made it to Broadway, to be perfectly honest.
Honestly, it's curious to me because I feel like I don't know that it's a household name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that everyone's heard of it. I don't know that like our parents would have heard of it. Mm-hmm. They might have. I don't know, but like.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have heard of like a bunch of musicals that came out in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Like, I know
so
what you mean.
I think for people who were like young and queer in the early 2000s, definitely
into the punk rock scene. Like this was originally a show in some
originally
punk
was like
rock
Lower East Side,
East
East Village, and like they used to just have the band and play and then tell these stories in between. So that's sort of how it started out. It's fun. Yeah. It's fun. I definitely recommend checking it out. It's queer. It's transgressive when it comes to gender, and there's some unrealistic sex change stuff, but it's fun.
Anything else?
No. I think check out Hedwig, and we'll try to do some more stuff. We'll maybe throw some more queer trans movies at you guys.
Yes, I want to hear from you. Yes, you, the person whose ears are holding my voice right now. If you watch this, what did you think?
Yeah.
What's your opinion? Did you like it? Did you like the music, songs, the horrible tragic story, the incredibly bitter comedy? Let us know.
Oh, also, if you have a trans movie that you think we should review. I know some people apparently grew up heavily influenced by the Rodney Danger film Ladybugs.
Oh God, we have to watch
which we're gonna watch.
No,
we still gotta do a Danish Girl episode. We live tweeted it right after we started the podcast, so I don't think a lot of people have seen it. So we'll do that one, and we'll do some other ones like Mom V and Rose is one that I remember. I remember checking out one from the library that was a British film called Different for Girls.
All right.
Yeah. So
there's movie reviews are only fun when the movie's terrible. So we will do this for you. But I'm not happy about it.
No, I think it'll be fun.
All right.
So yeah, and we also we'll thank you guys for listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We will talk to you next time.
All right, everyone.
Bye. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to help us keep making great content, go to patreon.com/genderrebels.
Please leave a 5-star review on iTunes.
And send your questions to questions@genderrebels.com.
Music for the Gender Rebels is by Jasper the Colossal. Link down below or download them on iTunes.
For all our episodes, visit genderrebels.com.
Gender Rebels is a Comeback Sync production. All rights reserved.
And to all you gender rebels out there,
Keep rebelling!
Is that 10? I don't have my glasses on.
Sure.
Hey everyone, I'm Kath.
And I'm Faith.
Today we are talking about Hedwig.
Wait. We got all our patrons.
Oh my gosh. Hey everyone, I'm Kath.
And I'm Faith.
Faith, do we have any patrons to thank?
We have so many patrons to thank.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you guys so much.